What is up, everybody? So coming to you today with the what's next on Triple G Gennady Golovkin. He returned on Friday, December 18th, main evented a DAZN card, took on some guy named Zermita, who was his undefeated number one contender, but not deserving, and Triple G pretty much broke him down and whipped his ass. Ended up putting him down 4 times en route to a 7th round TKO win. Triple G looked like he was in great shape, like he was ready. Pretty damn good after being out of the ring for 14 and a half months. Long layoff for him. He hadn't fought since that very tough fight against Sergey Derevyanchenko, where he won a very close unanimous decision there. So this one was just, it was big. You know, these guys were, Triple G looked ready. A lot of people were looking at this fight as to see if Triple G at 38 is old, but he didn't look old at all. And I still think he's at the very top of boxing, and he's definitely at the top of the 160-pound middleweight division as he held on to his world title. And with Canelo leaving now, leaving 160, and being the champion at 168, and looks like he's going to pursue a fight there. It could leave the door open for Triple G at 160, but I don't think so. So let's jump into and ask the big question now, which is what's next for Triple G, the IBF middleweight champion of the world? Well, Triple G, as I said, Canelo's moving up in weight. Well, he already has. He's at 168 now. He holds 2 of the world titles at 168. Canelo, his manager, Eddie Hearn, and his trainer, Eddie Hearn, came out and said that, not Eddie Hearn, Eddie Reynoso, did an interview, stating that Canelo's likely coming back at the end of February, and then after he get to fight Avni Yildirim to get that out of the way, and then he's looking at May and September, his normal dates, getting back on track for his normal dates, which are Cinco de Mayo in May and the Mexican Independence Day in September. So in order to pull that off, I guess he said after that he's looking at 3 different fighters for the 2 fights after Yildirim. And those 3 fighters are Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Saunders, and Triple G. So, Triple G, there's talk. Eddie Reynoso said that Triple G would have to move up to 168, and outside of maybe 1 or 2 options, I don't see why Triple G would wait and not go up to 168. And I think he should go up to 168 next, just my personal opinion. But if I'm gonna run through the top 10 in both the, he's not gonna get. I don't think he's getting Canelo next, but maybe he could. Maybe he could in May if he wants to wait for that. But I want to run through both middleweight and super middleweight for options for Triple G and what he could be doing next, because I do want to mention this. DAZN signed Triple G in June of 2018. They signed him to, or it was a couple months before that. They signed him to a 6-fight, $100 million contract. Actually, it was last year in 2019. But their hopes was to land a Canelo fight with that. So Triple G's making just over $16 million per fight. Started off with Steve Rolls, where he rolled Steve Rolls, 4th round knockout. Then last year, his 2nd fight was against Sergey Derevyanchenko. Tough fight. Derevyanchenko's not a big name. Then he fights this guy, Zermita. Again, he's making over $16 million per fight. They're going to want a return on that by him fighting a big-name opponent. You saw what DAZN did with Canelo, dropping the ball on the premier opponent thing, but they are big. They want big fights. So Triple G, I don't think, even if it's not Canelo, he's going to get a no-name next. So let's run through and see what could be possible for Triple G. And let's start in his own weight class of 160. Now that Canelo's gone, I got Triple G at number 1. You can say tied for number 1 or number 1 by himself. Let's look at the guy who's not either tied with him or number 2 a possible showdown against undefeated WBC champion Jermall Charlo. I would love to see this fight. I think it's something both guys should consider. I don't know how it gets done between DAZN and the PBC because it's definitely a pay-per-view fight. It would have to be. Now, how does DAZN and the PBC, Showtime, Fox work that out? I don't know. To me, it would seem really complicated, and neither guy is on the level of a Canelo in terms of name recognition. Even though they're both big names, they're not on that level. So I'm not sure they can get a deal done here. I would wish they could. I would hope for it, but not sure they could get it done. I'm leaning towards the no, even though I'd love to see the fight. Triple G versus number 3 undefeated WBO champion Demetrius Andrade. If Triple G wants this fight, he could get this fight. That's plain and simple. He could get Andrade if he wanted it. I say why, though? You know, even though Andrade's high up there, who is he beating? He's high up there because he's the world champion and he's the most avoided guy, but for good reason. He is tall southpaw, awkward style, and, you know, he hasn't beaten anybody. So, you know, he's not going to bring a lot of money to the table. The only thing appealing about him is the fact that he's undefeated and he has a world title. But it's not a must fight. And if we've learned anything over the years, you know, fighting awkward southpaws or southpaws that can box, even if you win, it's hard to look good against that. So why take the risk, especially when you have other big fights possibly on the horizon like Canelo? So I don't see Triple G looking Andrade's way. Now, if one guy was going to take the risk and fight a guy like Andrade, it would be Triple G. Triple G is a fucking hog. That dude is a beast. But at this point in his career, I think he just wants to load up for the bigger fights, and he deserves that. So, to me, Andrade is still a big win away from, you know, being able to say, I deserve to be in the ring with one of those guys. So I'm not seeing it. DAZN might push it, but I don't think Triple G takes the bait and goes for this fight, so I'm going to say no. Number 4 is a rematch with Sergey Derevyanchenko. Why? You know, I'd love to see a rematch, but I really think Triple G was overlooking Sergey the first time. I think he was overlooking him. I think that played a big part in why Triple G almost lost that fight. And to me, that's all it was. That's all it was right there. He was looking ahead to the Canelo third fight because at the time, that's what looked like it was coming up on the horizon. And I think he totally overlooked Derevyanchenko. And now Derevyanchenko has lost again, but even more convincingly to Jermall Charlo. Would make no sense, in my opinion, for Triple G to fight Derevyanchenko outside of he just wants to beat him more impressively. So, but I don't think Triple G takes the bait on that one and goes for it. Okay, so number 5 would be Chris Eubank Jr. Wouldn't completely rule this one out, but I don't think Triple G, it's at the front of the line. I think it's considered to be somewhat of a risky fight. Eubank has a name in the United Kingdom, but not really worldwide. And, you know, I don't know. It's possible, but I don't think Triple G jumps at this fight. I think he sees it as too high of a risk. So I would say no to that one. Number 6 is a showdown with WBA regular champion Ryota Murata. This one's interesting because this fight's makeable. Bob Arum co-promotes with Ryota Murata with Top Rank, and I think Eddie Hearn and Bob Arum would come together to make this fight happen because Murata is a former Olympic gold medalist. This is a fight that almost happened a couple years ago. This fight almost went down. Triple G, after the loss to Canelo in their rematch, was looking at Murata, and Murata ended up getting upset by Rob Brandt. That's the only thing that derailed this fight from happening. So he has a world title. Canelo is at 168. WBA is likely going to strip him of the Super Championship, so this would be a legitimate unification bout. Not a bad choice right here if Triple G staying at 160 to take on Ryota Murata. I really think this fight is possible and could happen. Number 7 is Jaime Munguia, the former world champion at 154. He's still undefeated. He's fought twice now at 168 or 160. I'm sorry. And you know, I really wouldn't be surprised if De La Hoya decided, hey, let's make a run at Triple G. He's got a world title. Let's go for it, because there's not a lot of big fights for Triple G, and I think Oscar would look at it a couple ways. Like, hey, he loses to Triple G, he could still keep his career going as long as he doesn't get completely embarrassed. And if he were to knock Triple G out, that would give him a direct chance at a Canelo showdown at some point, possibly in 2022, and Munguia could be Oscar's next big star. This is a fight I think Oscar should consider, because it's an easy fight to make. Triple G's with the zone. Munguia fights for Golden Boy and with the zone. He's an exciting fighter. It's a great matchup. I like it. I think this fight is possible if Triple G staying at 160. Very possible right here. Next up at number 8 is former WBA champion Rob Brandt. I don't see this one, because again, not a big name here, I wouldn't be surprised, but I just don't see Triple G taking a risk against a guy of Brandt's style, and it's just not a big-time appealing fight, so I'm going to say no. Number 9 would be undefeated Kanat Islam. Undefeated, but guy hasn't done very much. I don't see Triple G taking a risk on him. And then number 10 for now, I haven't even reevaluated everything, is Matt Korobov. No, Triple G's not going to waste his time here. He just suffered another injury anyways. Korobov could be done for good. So I'm not seeing it. Now Triple G would decide to venture up to 168. What could be possible there? The Canelo fight, maybe in May. I think Canelo wants to get this fight done with and over, but I also think he wants to fight for the undisputed title. So Canelo might go grab a third belt instead and load up for a showdown with Triple G in September, possibly early 2022. But I think Canelo wants to unify all these 4 belts, and I think that fight's very possible between him and Triple G, but not next. I'm gonna say no to it happening next. Number 2 would be a rematch with Danny Jacobs. Well, if Triple G wanted to come up and not fight for a world title at 168 in his first fight out, Danny Jacobs a good opponent to go after. I mean, it'd be a rematch. Triple G beat him, but does he want to take the risk when, Danny Jacobs is probably his more natural weight? He did well against Triple G. I'm going to lean towards the no. I think it's possible. Jacobs has a name, but I'm going to lean towards the no. Number 3 for now, I haven't updated my rankings at 168. Is Callum Smith, the undefeated former super champion, and he's not undefeated anymore. Canelo just whipped his ass. Triple G's not going to take a risk in his first fight at 168 against a guy the size of Callum Smith, even though it's an easy fight to make because both are with the zone. But he's not going to do that, so no, not seeing that one. Number 4 is undefeated David Benavidez, former 2-time champ. Nope, Triple G's not going to take a risk in his first fight against Benavidez. He could probably get the fight, but I don't think it happens. Number 5, undefeated Billy Joe Saunders, the WBO champion. I like this fight. Here's the game scenario that I'm mapping out for this one. If Triple G and Canelo has a shot at happening their third fight in September, and Canelo chooses Caleb Plant for his May fight, why not Triple G take on, move up and fight Billy Joe Saunders? It's a fight that almost happened a couple years back. Billy Joe's looking for a big name opponent. He's a champion at 168, and it's an easy fight to make because they're both with the zone. I think this fight makes a lot of sense for Triple G. He's got to see what Canelo decides to do next. Absolutely. Canelo might already have his next fight ready to go, and it could be Billy Joe in May because he already almost landed that fight a couple times this past year in 2020, I'm sorry. But I think it's very possible that Triple G and Billy Joe would lock up because it's the perfect scenario for the undisputed title at 168. Undisputed. Canelo wants that. If he goes after Caleb Plant and beats him, and Triple G beats Billy Joe Saunders, their third fight would be for the undisputed title at 168. I mean, that's huge. So, definitely, I think this is a possibility if Triple G moves up to 168 in his next fight. Number 6 is undefeated Caleb Plant. I mean, it's a fight worth exploring if Canelo decides to go with Billy Joe Saunders after Avni Yildirim. I'm not sure what Canelo wants to do, which one he favors between Plant and Saunders. But if he chooses Saunders over Plant for May, then I think Triple G, he holds the IBF title at middleweight. Why not move up to super middleweight and go after Caleb Plant? Plant's a good boxer, but Triple G is a monster. And, I think Triple G would be the favorite going into that one. It's a high-risk fight, but any fight is in order to land Canelo. So I definitely think it's possible, but that's PBC working with DAZN. Not sure if they could come together for that one, but maybe, and I do think that's possible. Okay, so that's Triple G and Caleb Plant. Number 7, Anthony Durrell, not seeing that one. Durrell, PBC and DAZN. He doesn't bring much to the table, does Durrell, so I don't see that one. Number 8, Lionel Thompson. Triple G would not be interested in this fight. Thompson is a career light heavyweight who came down and beat Jose Ustadegi and wants to compete at 168. Now, he can take a punch, awkward style. Triple G's not interested. Number 9 is John Ryder. Another interesting fight right here. I don't think it's going to happen next for Triple G, but that depends on when Ryder fights Fedor Shudanov. If Ryder were to become the regular champion, maybe Triple G fights him, but I just don't think the timetable is going to match up. I think Triple G made quick work of Jermita. I think he's going to want to come back by March or April in that area, stay busy since he was out of the ring a while. And I think Ryder and Shudanov, they're probably not going to fight till early as February, but it's probably going to be more towards March or April himself. So I don't think Triple G is going to want to wait around for the winner of that fight. So I'm going to say no, but I do think it's possible because they're both with DAZN. And then finally at number 10 at super middleweight is Caleb Truax. He's fighting Caleb Plant for the IBF title at the end of January. I think he's going to get his ass whipped, and Triple G would not be interested after that. So, but if he were to pull off the upset, I think Triple G would definitely be interested in it. So, you never know, but that's Triple G. I think real possibilities at 160 for Triple G are Ryota Murata and Jaime Munguia. I definitely think those fights are real possibilities for him. And the realest possibility, in my opinion, at 168 would be coming up and fighting Billy Joe Saunders next for the WBO belt. But we got to wait and see. I'm a big fan of Triple G. He's only got 3 fights left on his DAZN contract, and I think DAZN wants him to definitely step up the names so they can make some of that money back that they're paying him, because they're paying him $16 million plus per fight. And that's a lot for fighting low-level competition. Not low-level competition, low-level names. But, Zermita and Steve Rolls were low-level competition. Derevyanchenko was not, but low-level name, not going to have a big return and interest from the public. So, that's it. So, that's the what's next on Triple G Gennady Golovkin. I hope you guys enjoyed this. True Boxing, you've been hit with the truth.